So you can't create more space into a layout, but what you can do is, if you do have a spacious layout, you can always upgrade it, right? And update it to kind of make it more modern, to your taste. If you have been following me for long enough, you might see me mentioning again and again, because this question does come up from a lot of first-time home buyers. If you ask me candidly, I do feel like you should not be looking for a townhome if your budget is anywhere over 8. I would even say $750 and above. As of today, in this market, you can find some really good detached homes. I just showed you a couple of great examples. Things get really exciting when you go into 8 and 9 and looking for a good size detached. One other option that I do want to throw out for you guys right here in this 8 to 900 price point is, if you have to go all the way to downtown Toronto, like 4 days a week, I honestly don't suggest that you move to Kitchener. So you have been thinking of moving to Kitchener, Ontario, and you're wondering, what can you find these days in Kitchener between the price range of 8 to 900K? Then stay tuned, because right here in this video, I am going to show you around 3 different homes that's recently sold between that 8 and 900,000 that I promise will give you a really good understanding about your options between that 8 and 900,000. So stay tuned and let's get right into it. And just before we dive right in, my name is Dharmik Dixit. I am a local real estate agent serving Kitchener and surrounding towns, and I do have people just like you reach out to me looking to relocate in and around Kitchener-Waterloo every single week, and I absolutely love it. So whether you are thinking of moving in 9 days or 9 months, be sure to reach out. You can call me, text me, email me, or even schedule a Zoom call. All my contact info you will find right below in the description. I'll be more than happy to help you and family make a smooth move in and around Kitchener-Waterloo. All right, so let's take a look at this first home that you can see right behind me. Now, this one right here sold for $830K a month ago. And what you can see, it's a double wide garage. You have a beautiful 40 feet wide lot, about 110 feet deep. And like I said, sold just for $830K. What does this home has to offer is, you have good size 3-bedroom layout on the second level. As you can see, it is a 2-story layout. The home itself is built in the early 2000s. So you have 3 bedrooms on the second level. On the main level, you do have kitchen, dining, open concept, living, and a 2-piece washroom. Now, this home in total, above grade, is 1,670 square feet. And it does have a finished basement, which offers additional close to 600 square feet of finished living space. So just keep in mind, the basement also does have 1 3-piece washroom along with a rec room. So overall, you're looking at a really good layout, nice and spacious, very open if you look at the main floor. And you have a good sized basement that could be, very versatile space for library, gym, office, whatever you may use it for. But you have a decent space, very nice layout, and this is in the Pioneer Park neighborhood. So, this is what I like. The location of Pioneer Park is very much central, while the home itself is not too old. You're looking at less than 25 years. Of course, you will have to look at every home on an individual basis. I mean, I have seen homes as old as 5-year-old. And, if they're not kept well by the current owners, maybe they are tenanted, and most of the maintenance and the upkeep of the home, if that is mostly reactive, where, something breaks down and you fix it, then the quality of the home, even if it is 5 years old, it will show up, right, when you go and see it. While if the home is maintained well, I mean, you can look at home in 70s and 80s, but still you will see if they're well kept, well maintained, it shows what we call the pride of ownership. And this was a good example. As you can see, finishes, they're not like, the current modern finishes. It doesn't have all the shiny bits and pieces, but there is space, right? So you can create more space into a layout, but what you can do is, if you do have a spacious layout, you can always upgrade it, right? And update it to kind of make it more modern, to your taste. You can change the counters, the cabinets, all those things, right? But you can really add a lot of space in the layout that's already there. So that's, what the low 800s can get you. I mean, 40 feet wide, it has 4 parking on the driveway, 2 additional cars in the garage. I mean, for low weights, this could be a great option. Also note that if you are a commuter, I have mentioned Pioneer Park is like a very central location. So you're very close to the Homer Watson Boulevard, and you can take Highway 401 going to the GTA straight from there. So 401, I would say, would be maybe about 5 to 7 minutes from here, any part of this neighborhood in Pioneer Park. And the other good thing about this particular neighborhood is the fact that while you are still on the east end of Kitchener, you're very close to all the major amenities. I mean, even if you look at the Fairway Road or the Fairview Park Mall, which is basically one big mall we have in Kitchener, all of those will be a very close distance. The only thing that would be far if you do end up in Uptown Waterloo or, some of those areas further west, then yeah, that could be a little bit challenging to get from here to there on a regular basis. But I mean, people living in this neighborhood still do commute to Waterloo, and at the most 20 to 25 minutes. But you can see, right, like all this home, very quiet. Look at this, like there's a trail that goes in. You are surrounded by so much of green space right here in this neighborhood. So, if you're a nature lover like I am, this could be a great spot for sure. But nonetheless, now you have some idea about low 800s. What I'm going to do is head to a second home where I'm going to show you a home that actually sold just around the 850s. So that will give you a decent idea. In fact, it's very interesting to see how it changes as you go from low to mid 800,000. So I'm going to give you a glimpse of this neighborhood and see you at the second home. So stay tuned and let's get right there. Okay, so I'm at the second home here, and you can see the one right across the street, double garage detached, sold for $850K, located on a premium corner lot, very deep lot as well. I mean, you can see from the angle, fairly deep lot, beautiful backyard, and this one is 2287 square feet, like close to 2,300 above grade living space, which has 4 really good sized bedrooms. You have a primary bed with an ensuite, you have another, full main washroom, and 3 good-sized bedrooms. So in total, you have 4 bedrooms on that second level, and you do have very spacious living, dining, kitchen, as well as the laundry is on the main floor. So, you're looking at close to, like I said, 2,300 above grade. That does not end there. It does have a finished basement as well, which has close to another 900 square feet of finished living space, which has a large open rec room as well as another 3-piece washroom. So it could be used as a guest ensuite if you may. But this home is again in the Williamsburg neighborhood. You're very close to like Highway 8, about 3 minutes from here. And it's a rather, mature and established neighborhood. You can see all the homes around me. They're pretty much built in the early 2000s. Majority of this part of the neighborhood was developed in the early 2000s. So you'll find a lot of young families, growing families, moving into this neighborhoods of Kitchener. And, these are the homes that are not too old, I would say. And if you can see the home from inside, while not all the finishes are again modern, but you get that space, you get that nice layout. Although I would still call it pretty much like a move-in ready or a turnkey home that you can, basically move in without having to spend a dime. And this is the home that I would define as such. Now, just keep in mind one more thing. If in case you're wondering, well, what if you want something rather newer, in the sense that you don't want to go with these homes that are built in, say, 20, 25 years old. My thing is this, if you go with the newer construction, say homes built in, COVID times or within the last 5 years, basically, the age of the home and the price, if you have been following me for long enough, you might see me mentioning again and again, because this question does come up from a lot of first-time home buyers, that, age of the home and the price always have, inverse relationship, in the sense that the older the home, the cheaper the price might be. And, when you go into the newer construction, that's when you will see, the price of the home will reflect as such. Now, part of the reason for that is also because of the fact that if you were to buy something, say, within 5 years, you would not have to look at a lot of major, renovations or fixes. For example, your HVAC is good, your roofing is good, your windows are good, your foundation should be good. You're still well within the tenant warranty. You have a couple of years left if it's a 5-year-old home. So all those things, right? So many buyers prefer that, not having to deal with all those things and having that second doubt in the back of their mind. But this is where you can find that sweet spot of homes that are not completely new or newer, but you can go with something like, early 2000s up to 2015 and still find some really good, well-kept home. And just keep in mind, in today's, market, you can do your home inspection, right? So you still have the opportunity to check how old the furnace is, how old the air conditioning is, what's the condition of the roof, what's the condition of the windows, all those things, right? So even if you buy something that's like this, that's built in early 2000s, you still do have the chance to do a thorough inspection and make sure that you are not looking at a major expense or a replacement of something right as you move in. So that's what I would say. You can find something, a really nice and spacious layout that's bigger, and you don't have to pay the premium for a newer construction. So that's what I would say. You can find a good balance and find some great homes in this price range. You might also notice that I have not shown any townhomes, right? I mean, there are townhomes on the market in this price range, but if you ask me candidly, I do feel like you should not be looking for a townhome if your budget is anywhere over 8. I would even say 750 and above. As of today in this market, you can find some really good detached home. I just showed you a couple of great examples that literally went through the sale. So one might argue, oh, something is listed for 800, might go for 850 or 9 or maybe higher. But these homes that I showed you literally went through the transaction. So they have actually sold, and that's where they stand, right? So that's why I don't feel like you should be looking at a townhome if you are anywhere over 750. You are able to find some reasonably priced and reasonably laid out, spacious semis and detached. So why would you look for a townhome if you have a budget like that? So that's what my thought is. Let me know in the comments below. If you want to look at something in the townhome space, I will, show you guys. Maybe share a couple of great examples in the comment section if you may ask. But what I'm going to do is head back to my car, show you around this neighborhood. You will see most of this home being detached. Some of them are single detached, some of them are double garage detached. Only, that home that we saw, by the way, it's located on a quiet cul-de-sac. So you don't have a through traffic, which is again great and perfect for a young family if you got kids, right? So that's just my take. What I'm gonna do is head back to my car and show you around this neighborhood, and I'll see you at the third stop where we'll look at another beautiful home that's sold in a high 800,000. Things get really exciting when you go into 8 and 9 and looking for a good size detached. So I'm personally excited to show you all these homes. So stay tuned and let's get right there. All right, so this last one that I wanted to show you is actually the one that you see right across the street from me. Again, a double garage detached. Now this is in Huron South. This one sold about 10 days ago for 881. So this is your option. If you're looking at high 800,000, home is about 2,350 square feet. You're looking at a beautiful 4-bedroom layout. It is kind of a multi-level if you look at the inside pictures, but very well laid out home. Now this one, it's very similar in terms of space to the one that we saw earlier, but just keep in mind, this one is rather newer. We are in the Huron South neighborhood. So this whole neighborhood is pretty much developed after 2005, whereas the previous neighborhood that I showed you, most of that is developed up to 2005. So if you're looking for something in last 15 to 20 years, maybe even last 5 years, this neighborhood of Huron South will give you a handful of options. Now this one right here is, like I said, a 4-bedroom layout. You have 4 generously sized bedroom. Of course, some of the things that come standard are the walk-in closets in the primary bedroom, en suites, main level laundry, all those things you can expect for it to come as standard when you look at anything over 2,000 square feet. And you have 3 other very good size bedrooms, plus a 4-piece washroom, which is a main bath on the 2nd level. You do have a basement that is finished as well. It has mentioned partially finished. So there is a game room and a rec room and the workshop and the storage area. So again, you have a very versatile space below grade that you could use for additional living space, maybe an office or anything else that you may desire. Now, one more thing I wanted to mention, the other option, let's say, all the homes you will see I showed you in so far are the 2-story layouts, right? Now, if you may have, elderly parents who are not comfortable going up and down the stairs, or, you are yourself is not a huge fan of this 2-story layouts. One other option that I do want to throw out for you guys right here in this $800 to $900 price point is also don't overlook the fact that you can also find some really good large lots on a bungalow style, like raised bungalows, flat bungalows, as well as the split level like side split and back split homes. Just know that they won't be as new as the one that I showed you. I mean, all the 3 homes that we looked at are, the ones after 2000. Whereas if you look at those older, construction, you'll find some very well kept, very well laid out bungalows and split level homes. So just note that, especially as you go from that, high 7s into the mid 8s, I think you can find some really good, huge lot size in the bungalows in some of the mature and, rather established neighborhoods of Kitchener. I mean, this is also very well established. All the amenities are pretty much at your doorstep. There is, in fact, a new library that's very close that just opened up about a couple months ago. There is a Longos Plaza where they have Starbucks, Shoppers Drug Mart. There's a couple of banks that open up and some quick serve restaurants that open up right here at the doorstep of where this home is. So, still very well established neighborhood. The only thing, if you were to live here, 401 from here, as well as that Williamsburg neighborhood, which will be about 15 to 20 minutes, maybe about more so around 15 minutes to get to, right? So if you are a commuter, if you were to stay close to Pioneer Park or Dune South, which is kind of the east end, even Grand River South and Grand River North, all those neighborhoods on the east end of Kitchener up to the center, you will definitely have closer access to the Highway 401 if you do have to commute more often, right? Because what I'm starting to hear is, people are being called back to work at least 3 to 4 days a week these days. So first of all, if that's an option, I mean, if you have to go all the way to downtown Toronto, like 4 days a week, I honestly don't suggest that you move to Kitchener, right? Frankly speaking, because it's not going to be as feasible. You will be draining yourself every day commuting between here and Toronto. Although there is an option, I can tell there is a GO train that's going, but let me just tell you guys, it's just not feasible. It will affect your, personal life, and you will be, draining yourself, right? But if you do have to, and, let's say it's rather not all the way to Toronto downtown, but let's say one of the GTA suburbs, say Mississauga or, somewhere around that, because, it has a very good, healthy work system, right? The ecosystem in Mississauga. So a lot of people I work with do work not all the way in Toronto, but the headquarters are in rather Mississauga or one of these other GTA suburbs. So if you have to do that, well, you still want to stay closer to 401. That might help you cut down that commute by another 15-20 minutes. And while in summer, it may not matter as much for you. In winter times, I can tell you it will help you a lot, especially cut down that commute by 15 to 20 minutes. So that's just my, candid opinion about it. But to each their own. Many people still do move to this day to Kitchener and still are okay with commute. So to each their own. Now, having said that, this is to give you a general idea about what are the options. And as you can see, I mean, there are some really decent options available between that 8 and 900K as of right now here in Kitchener. And, if you want to reference the comparison, how much the market has slowed down, you can actually look at the video I did summer of last year, I think summer to fall, for the same price point. and you can see how the options have dramatically changed. So there are better options available for the buyers, and that clearly shows the market has slowed down tremendously and prices have, adjusted accordingly to the excess supply we have. If you want to, get your feet wet and really get a pulse check on what's happening in the current real estate market, I just put out a video about the market update where I candidly shared my take as well as we dive deeper into the numbers. So feel free to check that out. But nonetheless, if you got some value, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and tap on the bell so you're the first one to get notified when a new video pops out. And whether you are thinking of moving in 9 days or 9 months, be sure to reach out. You can call me, text me, email me, or even schedule a Zoom call. All my contact info is right below. I'll be more than happy to help you and family make a smooth move in and around Kitchener-Waterloo. Until next time, I will continue to show you guys around the town.